50 DMs, okay? Of you saying hello, hello, hi, hello. Hey guys, TazzyPhe here. How is it going? I love Pakistan and I love visiting, except for the whole, Imodium? You need Imodium. Is it a loose movement? I love it. Beautiful country. Pakistan is a nation of fierce, strong, resilient human beings who simply cannot have their spirit broken. And we create the greatest memes of all time. I'm proud to be a Pakistani! Arguably. The food is on point. If you watch any travel vloggers, you already know this. They love Pakistan. Mark Wiens, he's like, yeah. Do you know what the difference is between me and those guys? They can go there and they can take the good things and be like, wow, what a beautiful country.
I believe that Pakistan can be the world's #1 tourism destination.
And then if they see something bad, something they don't like, they can say, you know what, yeah, I acknowledge that's bad, but I separate myself from that. Ethnocentrism. You see, it's not that simple for me. When I go there and see something I don't like about society or the culture or whatever, it sends me into a spiral, analyzing the world in which my parents grew up in, the people who raised me, the humans who raised me, the place I technically immigrated from. And honestly, it's not like we get to Ellis Island on our little boats and just all of a sudden, I pledge allegiance and boom, the next day we're grilling hot dogs and watching Sunday Night Football. Desi culture is strong. It doesn't just wither away after eating some apple pie. It's like haldi that I dropped on this pillow. That ain't never going away, ever. Maybe, if I find a hack.
Haldi spilled on your countertop? Mix baking soda and water to make a paste, leave overnight.
See, all these things don't disappear just because you move to another country. You actually, in some ways, get to pick and choose what you keep and what you leave. It's a choice. Now, some may argue it's not a choice because it's internalized. I mean, I would say it's kind of a choice. But truthfully, there are things that I will never understand because I did grow up here. So when I speak from my perspective, take it with a grain of salt, keep that in mind. I've made content about why I have loathed myself because of my identity due to external sources, due to maybe outsiders making me feel like, ooh, you're not that great, you know, ugh. But today we'll get into the things about my own people that made me absolutely hate being brown. Like, seriously. And I would like to preface this again by saying that Desis, Pakistanis, you know, I'm gonna use these words maybe interchangeably throughout the video. They are not a monolith. They are not the same thing. People extremely underestimate the amount of land, the amount of diversity. I'm not a historian though, so I'm not going to separate all that because it's gonna water down what I have to say. So you know what? I am gonna generalize for this video and it's happening. And like I said, I'm not a historian, so I don't know what to blame on the British and what to blame on us, or what to blame on both. I don't know, but I'm just gonna talk about these things. Okay, so here we go. All right, one thing that I absolutely hate about Pakistanis, you know, mingling with the Pakistanis. Everything is about rank and status. Now, you would be like, oh, all human beings are like that. No. Desis are on another level, all right? I've lived in a place where I've met all different kinds of people. Desis are obsessed with rank and status. You must be a doctor, you have to. #1 in your class. You ain't nothing if you scored #2. Just remember that. You ain't nothing. The bar is way too high. I would like to say it's about, oh, you should be the best you can be. That's not what it is. It's you gotta be better than everybody else so that I can brag about my children and my lineage and blah blah. That's how it goes. And now that I'm like 30 years old almost, I'm like, oh wait, no, you know what? They were kind of right. I should have been a doctor. Bro, that's salary though. Like, you can work a corporate job for 40+ years. You will never see those numbers in your life, ever. I mean, most people won't, but oh well, too late for that. And if you don't really quite understand what I'm talking about, you can watch the movie 3 Idiots, which is a really good commentary on the educational system and this pressure to like be #1 and how that actually affects people mentally and how bad it is. The movie's set in India, but it, you know, so it shows like how bad it is. Now, you see, this mentality of we gotta be the best, better than everybody, you gotta be #1 is perfect for capitalism. It's perfect, which in turn leads a lot of Desis to be kind of materialistic. Speaking of materialism, you would not want to be caught in a mob of Pakistani women outside of Sapphire in Dolmen Mall when there's a sale going on. I mean, one time I went to Kadi, it looked like the store had been looted. There was some sort of sale going on. I wouldn't know. I couldn't see any of the inventory. It's a serious, you know, thing, which leads me to a little side rant. I can't keep up with 2 fashion cycles, okay? There are Pakistani girls who are fashionable all the time in both Pakistani and Western clothing. How do you have the mental capacity for that? And the bank account. The Pakistani fashion scene moves faster than Usain Bolt. Long kurta, short kurta, medium kurta, back to wide-legged pants. No, we're gonna have skinny pants now. No, we're gonna do like the, I can't. It's so exhausting. When I go to Pakistan, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna look cute. And then I go there and I'm like, why do I feel so bad about my clothes? But back to my point about rank. Like, if you tell an American you went to Harvard, they're gonna be impressed with you. People will be like, wow, they went to Harvard.
You got into Harvard Law?
What, like it's hard?
But if you tell a Desi that you went to a good school, they will be super impressed with you. But then they will also go home, tell their kids that they are trash.
Look at this guy. Look at what he did. Okay, look at you.
And then they will proceed to throw their children at you. Marriage proposals. I mean, it's coming. It's happening. Now they want to bring you as an asset into their life. You will provide them rank and status, like I said. And I do, in my personal opinion, think it's worse than it is in American culture. And there may be different factors to that. Some people may blame it on the British, like, well, the British came here and, you know, their aristocracy and blah, blah, blah. I couldn't tell you. I don't know. Okay, I don't know how much you can blame on that. And you want to school us? Go ahead. My next point, what people think of you is everything. Log kya kahenge? When Hassan Minhaj talked about that, I mean, he's not lying. It's not a joke. It's a real thing. A lot of Desis care a lot about what other people think. Like, people will forego big, huge life decisions that they really want just because of what other people will say. People throw weddings that they can't afford just so that people won't look down on them. Everything is about reputation. That is a social currency. And a woman's reputation is everything. It is the backbone of a household. Which brings me to my next one. The misogyny is too real. Now, this is one I was like, I don't know if I should talk about this because I got a lot of Westerners who watch my videos and like, oh, you're making us look bad. I will talk about the things that I want to talk about, like I'm talking to the audience that I am trying to talk to. Does that make sense? I'm gonna get real about this. There is a hatred of women. I will say that. And it's more complex than just straight up being like, we hate women. No. It's not that simple. Men can just like mess up. The double standards, all that stuff is too real. A woman does one little thing, bruh, it will mess up her whole family name. The thing that's most frustrating about it is that she's probably not even doing anything. Women are raised from a very young age to cover themselves, to, you know, have or wear parda. Women are taught every which way how to act because everything at the end of the day is your fault. Just like the Prime Minister of Pakistan has let us know as well. As women should remove the temptation because men don't have willpower, right? I mean, what more do you want? Women in Pakistan already dress conservatively. What else do you want? I don't get it. It's crazy. You'll see that Desi men are never taught the other way around. And it's not just Pakistan and it's not just in Muslim society, actually. When you watch some documentaries about India as well, I mean, it's like a larger issue. The value of women and the blame on women for literally everything is insane. And it's not to say that that doesn't exist in American society because they're battling that in their own way, but women are supposed to do everything in their power to not be temptresses. Imagine the most you could do and then add some more onto that. You even just, okay, that's your fault. You attracted him to you. That's your fault. You deserved it. This is one that's been really difficult for me personally, and this one has really contributed to me hating myself for being Pakistani because I'm like, why is this so deeply ingrained in culture? And like, obviously not everybody has this problem, but generalizing, yes, it is a larger issue that I think the Desi community deals with. I mean, the misogyny is just real. Instead of teaching men like, you need to have some respect for women. They're not just sexual objects, and lower your gaze. Like this whole narrative about like, oh, men can't control themselves. What the heck is that, man? That deserves a whole separate video, but yeah, that's a big one. I'm not gonna lie about that. I have a difficult time. But another point on this, what's funny is, I don't know if you guys watch Irturul. I tried my best to get, God, that show is so long. Dude, each season's like 100 episodes and they're like hour-long episodes. And there's 5 of seasons. So that show is super popular in Pakistan. And there's a main character, Halime. She is the wife of the main character and she is mashallah beautiful. So there are a lot of men, Pakistani men, who are obsessed with her. And I remember one time I clicked on just her Instagram page and you have Pakistani men in her comment section being like, why are you wearing this? You are playing a holy character. Like, leave her alone. She's an actress. And then going off of that point, the way in which men in Desi culture things are romantic romantic, or we're taught that things are romantic, it's like stalker behavior. I've never watched Dil Se. I know the songs from that movie, but I never watched it, starring Shah Rukh Khan. And so this is one of his famous movies, and I finally sat down and watched it one day with my mom, or I tried to watch it, and I couldn't. It was so bad. Like, this woman does not want to be around him, and he follows her everywhere, and then he like beholds her and touches her without her consent after following her for forever. For me, I took a step back and I was like, yo, like, this is what they're teaching people is romantic. That when a woman wants to be left alone, that's romantic. To just follow her across the world and then touch her and grab her and dude, it was so weird. It opened my eyes and I was like, okay, well, this is what people in the society are taught is what women want. Women don't want that. Women don't want 50 DMs, okay? Of you saying hello, hello, hi, hello. Another thing that's misogynistic that I feel about Desi culture, Pakistani culture in particular, when a woman marries into a family, I feel like the level of personal sacrifice that she's required to make or expected to make is just on another level. Desi culture, a man can never go and live with his in-laws, but a woman is expected, because it's a joint family system usually, she's expected to go live with her in-laws. Now, I personally don't really believe in that. If you're financially able to live on your own, I think you should, because the woman has to sacrifice a ton of her privacy. You know, this whole evil mother-in-law trope that you see in dramas and in movies, it's a real thing. It's a real thing. A lot of mother-in-laws, they don't treat their daughter-in-laws like an actual daughter. But yeah, that's my opinion on that, and that might be very controversial for some, but anyway, let's move on to the next one. And another aspect of Pakistani culture, which I don't know that is actually part of Pakistani culture, but it's something that I see when I go to Pakistan, this elite society. In every culture, there's like really rich people, right? And they're always shown as like really bad and evil people because, I mean, how did they get so rich and how did they stay rich? I don't know. I'm not saying that every rich person in the world is evil, but there's a lot of shows out there from different cultures about that segment of society, right? I don't know. Like, I've come across Pakistani elite society, and honestly, it just makes me want to just Like, one morning I woke up and I saw this video and I wanted to throw up, okay? It really made me so angry. But basically, these women were pulling their employee forward and recording him and being like, haha, oh, show everybody how you speak English. He's been taking lessons for like 10 years. It's hilarious, listen. And then he speaks in English and it's not very good or something. And then
this is our manager who's been with us for 9 years. This is the beautiful English he speaks. We just thought,
is what we paid for.
This is at a very good salary, mind you. Thank you.
They got so much backlash for that, and it was like, you know, the elite socialite type of profile, let's say these people were having like, you know, these new restaurants that are like, you know, hot and where all the other elite people go. And then they come out with an apology, and their apology was basically, oh, that's an inside joke. You guys don't understand our inside jokes. Yeah, okay, all right. And what's funny is that a lot of these people will act like they hate the West, talk very low about the West, but then dress, talk, eat, and act like Western things are better. Make it make sense. And then a lot of people from these kind of backgrounds will come to the US or other Western places and perpetuate this same cycle of classism and whatever else. And they just continue the cycle of that snootiness. Huh, my daughter, oh daughter. All right, next we're gonna talk about the racism, colorism that exists in the South Asian community. So the thing about colorism and racism in the Desi community, I mean, it's really real. And then Desis bring that to the US as well. And they are very racist towards Black people. If you want to talk about the Muslim community in particular, a lot of Black Muslims will tell you about their experiences with people who are Pakistani or whatever it may be. But I will say also, the colorism and the racism is so blatant. Like, it's not like it's hidden. It's like talking about someone's skin color is very normal. When Meghan Markle came out with that interview and she was talking about how like they talked about what the skin color of the baby was gonna be, it's like the way people were shocked about that. I was gonna make a video about that whole interview, and one of the points that I was gonna say is there would have been no shock factor to that interview. So some last thoughts that aren't really in categories of things that I really just like dislike about being Desi and makes me hate myself. I don't really know how to put this one in words, but really it's about the way that workers are treated. I think maybe that's that's what I'm leaning towards. I personally would never want a DESI as a boss. Now, if you're white, you're fine. Okay, I'm sure they'll treat you great. But like, there's something about DESIs and the way that they treat other DESIs or people from other ethnicities that are not white. It's really something that doesn't disappear just because people immigrate. People have that mentality that they think that they can treat people like that as long as they can get away with it, right? But yeah, like DESIs have this sort of like entitlement when it comes to work. If you are DESI, it's kind of difficult to work with other DESIs. That's not to say that every DESI that you're gonna work for is like that, but this is a huge generalization, but this is something that I've kind of experienced a little bit. But I have been in settings where, yeah, like I can tell that a woman who's DESI is treating me like and talking to me a certain way and doing things with me that she wouldn't be doing if I was white or if she was going to one of my coworkers. And I've had those kind of experiences. There needs to be some adjustment in the culture based on that. So I went to this restaurant actually here in the US. That was a Pakistani restaurant, and bro, I cannot tell you, when I went there I was like, man, I hate DESI people. It made me hate myself so much. We go there and we're sitting, we're eating, whatever. There's a table behind us. I guess the lady at the table was pissed off about something that the waiter did. I don't know. It wasn't that big a deal. Bro, I am not kidding you. When the owner straight up yells at the employee in front of everybody, like DESI style. You know what I'm talking about when I say DESI style, okay? Like dehumanizing him, shaming him. It was so bad. But not only that, he brings him to the table and makes him apologize to everybody. It was one of those moments where I'm sitting there and I'm like, ugh, why? Why do you have this mentality? Who taught you this? To treat other people like that, or to be like, yes ma'am, whatever you say ma'am, everyone else is trash. Like, what's wrong with you? I don't know how to verbalize it. Maybe I'll make it in another video where I'm able to explain what I'm talking about, but that's one thing that, Anyway, all this stuff overall is stuff that I've seen kind of just being Pakistani, growing up in the US, and on my visits to Pakistan. Stuff that's made me like, I hate myself. You know, maybe the more that I educate myself on reasons why things are the way they are, or being able to get to a place mentally where I'm like, you know what, this exists, that exists, but that doesn't mean that that has to be a part of me, and I don't have to, you know, perpetuate these cycles. And the fact that I can see these things, and, you know, I also acknowledge that there are people who do a lot of social work and who are really committed to making, you know, societal issues and tackling the things that people don't want to, you know, give time to. To conclude this video, I'd like to know your guys' thoughts. If there's stuff that I don't understand, or maybe you guys have some insight as to why maybe something that I said in the video is the way that it is. I also think that just because something is the way that it is and there may be an explanation doesn't mean that we have to carry that stuff on if we identify it as something as a societal issue. So anyway, this concludes my little series about like the reasons why I hated myself, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like, comment, subscribe. Links for social media are down in the description below. Check out the podcast. I have been uploading the longer interviews from some of the videos that you guys have enjoyed, so you guys can check that out. TazzyPhe out. Bye.